Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we've got 7 games here on a Wednesday night slate in the NBA for you guys. In this one, we're taking a look at the Cavs playing host to the Philadelphia 76ers. Take a look at that one. Got another game video up for you and our player props as we're bringing you each and every weekday. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Also head to thelines.com. Got all the great content for you need in the NBA up there for you guys. Nate and I throw those player props up there as well. Mo's doing the same for us. Also have that odds finder tool up there. If you use that, you can see all those odds available to you from the U.S. sportsbooks on any bet you might want to make in the NBA this season. Nate, let's go ahead and run through this slate for everyone and then talk about our game, Cavs and Sixers.
Yeah, we open here with the Grizz at the Heat in the what we could call a grind fest, +4 for Memphis on the road. Cavs right now +2.5 at home. They're on a back-to-back. Jared Allen is questionable. That total's been bet up to 222. Lakers are on a back-to-back. They're -3 at Houston. Then the other game we look at, Kings in a pick'em at the Bulls. Total's been bet down a few points to 236. Well, we talk about that in the episode. The Celtics trying to get on track here are -5 at Minnesota. Mavs -6 at Spurs. No Luka, maybe no Kyrie, along with a couple other guys are questionable as they face the tankers out there. And then the Warriors are +2 at the Clippers, looking for their first road win in something like 2 months. And the Clippers, 237 total out there, expecting some fireworks, sure. Sixers, Cavs here. 219 was where the total started, and I don't think we're alone in saying we'll take the over on that. The Cavs are still the number one scoring defense in the league, but lately they've been a little less impressive. I mean, their games have averaged 225, and they've gone over a 9 of their last 12. And it's not just a case of opponent because they got back-to-back games against Miami in there. So that's about as low scoring as it can get. They are on a back-to-back, and they do tend to go under more often. And they're 8-3 the under on those back-to-backs, but they're scoring a little bit more. 108 per game versus 105 on normal rest. And this, to me, is more about the Sixers. This game, to me, is more about Joel Embiid and him just dominating and putting another feather in his cap for MVP. Whether Jared Allen plays or not, I don't think he cares. In his last 9 against Allen, he's averaging 30 and 13, 5 assists, and that includes a couple lines last February: 40, 14, and 10, 42, 13, and 6 against Allen. Got 15 free throws in both of those, and he's just been unstoppable really for a couple months now, but since the All-Star break, he looked 35 points a game on 38% usage, 14 free throws, also 2.5 blocks with a 114 defensive rating. There's certainly blood in the water here with the Nuggets faltering and Jokic losing on the narrative. I mean, very strong narratives for Embiid. He's now +165 to win MVP, where he was +450 a couple weeks ago. And so I think he just comes out with another MVP caliber performance. And if Jared Allen is not available, then that is trouble for the Cavs, right? I mean, is Evan Mobley going to be guarding this guy for most of the game? And maybe that kind of throws him off in terms of a quicker defender, but Embiid bullying dudes right now. And the Sixers are on 2 days rest here versus a team that's on a back-to-back. They are 38-19 when they get at least a day off this year. They're 12-5 as road favorites, which they are here. This is straight up numbers. And also, that's their most consistent over situation, 12-5 to the over by 6 points per game. Their offense in their last 12, they're number 1 in three-point shooting, obviously number 1 in free throws. Their scoring is up to 119, so their games are averaging 231. Even at a slow pace, they've gotten to some really high totals, like 263 at Milwaukee at a 93 pace. And it's like, how did that happen? Well, the Sixers hit 18 threes. They hit 30. They had 37 free throw attempts and hit 31 of those. And the Cavs, to me, I mean, I might call them the baby Cavs, not because they are so young across the board. I mean, they are pretty young, but it's kind of an interesting, like, they're a step or two in the evolution behind the Bucks and in the way they play defense too. And they're getting roasted from the 3-point line because they haven't made that same adjustment that the Bucks have made. I believe they're 28th in opponents' 3-point percentage in these last 12. That's why we've been going over. So you match up against the Sixers team that's number 1 in threes right now, getting great shots, high assist rate. Cavs are very low in assist rate right now. And they're scoring their highest points off turnovers, and Philly's third in limiting that. So there's a lot of advantages here for Philly, who just beat them right before the break when the Cavs were hot. And the bad loss when the last time they were at Cleveland in late November, you could throw that away. I mean, there was no Harden, Maxey, and that was when the Sixers were in an absolute funk. They lost 2 more after that. Now they are, rolling. They are very impressive, and Embiid is just an unstoppable force.
He is. He's an unstoppable force, and what's interesting is like they've gotten better. Philly's just sort of changed, honestly. Like there was a point in the season where I think we were all a little bit down on them, obviously before Embiid went on his tear, which it seems like he just does every year now. There's going to be 20 games where he's like, no, I'm the best player. And it's like unquestionable for 20 games. But I don't know. He seems to rotate between like the 3 other guys that we could consider the best player in the league. But what's interesting too is James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, really just James Harden. I think he's even extra pissed that he didn't get that All-Star vote. He's like, I finally just play the way that everyone in the media tells me I should be playing, where I'm dishing like crazy and I'm just controlling the game with my vision and my handles. And I don't get the MVP. And so now I'm even more pissed, and now I'm averaging even more assists. And also it's just leading to Philly playing slightly differently. I think they're pushing it, even if their pace remains a little bit, stagnant at times. It's pretty even. It's like middle of the league, if you will, but they've pushed it a lot, even on a made basket. Like they're clearly getting the ball out of the rim and going, and Embiid is running straight down the floor, but so is Harden and Maxey. They're just pushing the ball each and every chance they get. That's why they've over their last 7, where you mentioned they've won 6 of 7 overall, including like a number of high scoring affairs for the 76ers in that time frame. Because they sure, you play the Bucks and you play the Pacers, even the Timberwolves, who the Timberwolves couldn't score, so that game went under. But the Sixers had 117 points and still pushed the pace there. But even against the Heat and the Mavs, and this team is scoring, right? 120 against the Heat. The Mavs don't play defense anymore, so they got 126 against them. But that was also a game with Kyrie and Luka that we probably should have done a better job of seeing, that Kyrie and Luka can't lose every game they play together, and they played really well in that one at home. Point being, like, they're getting fast break points. That's what's doing it. They're just pushing it. They're pushing the ball even out of the made basket. They're also getting a ton more like defensive plays in transition, defensive plays around the rim. They were giving up a ton of fast break points. They were giving up a ton of points around the rim and second chance points. And in their last 7, they're limiting all of those things. They're back to like top 5, where you thought they would be with the best center in the league, probably the best overall defensive and offensive combined. Yeah, I don't think that's a question for Embiid, for what he does and in the way that he's finally been able to be that guy in the post, that's been able to give them something behind their defenders on the wing, who were also much better this season. Last year they were awful against the 3. This year they're much better against the 3. So I like their opportunities there. I like them in this game a bit more. I'm honestly a little bit scared of the Cavs' ability to score like this. I know there's a bit more points on the back-to-back for this team at times, but we've also just seen them come out and have some weird, like, stagnant offensive games that does scare me a little bit. I do agree that Philly's going to keep this thing going so much that, like, it's more likely that it goes over, and that's why it's been bet up. It was way too low to start. People just saw Cavs and thought, under at home, and they played last night, so they're tired legs or whatever. And I'm not necessarily buying into that, but I think what I'm saying is I feel a lot more strongly about Embiid and the Sixers being able to continue what they're doing, even in this situation, especially if Jared Allen doesn't play.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sixers to win is the preferred look here, but some things in support of the over. I mean, you talked about Kairuka real quick as a kind of a tangent, but it's relevant here because we're talking about a dominant backcourt now going up against a team that can't guard athletic guards. Last time they met, Garland went 10 for 14 from the floor and could have scored more if he had higher usage. Donnie had 33 points. The Cavs also scored 74 in the second half of that game. So they just really started slow, and it still got to 230 in Philly, granted. And Philly's a little lower scoring on the road, but more of the Cavs situation here. They're 9-6 to the over when they are underdogs. In that underdog role, Donnie kind of relishes, right, in saying, like, okay, I'm just going to go out and get 40. I'm going to keep us in it. Whatever we can't do defensively, especially, against a guy like Embiid, he will just match you. This is only the second time they've been underdogs at home all year, and that first one did go over by 7 points. So I think there's a situation to say the under is looking good here, but again, you look at clutch numbers, and if this goes down to the stretch, the baby Cavs, they don't have enough experience is why I don't think they're really a threat in the playoffs, is that they're 27th in offensive rating their last 8 clutch games. And Philly somehow number 1 in defense in their last 11 clutch, winning 7 of those against some really good teams. So I think, that's another reason to just say Embiid will have his fingerprints all over this one, whether it's on the defensive end down the stretch too, to help them get the win. And I'll just save some of this for player props, but 35 in a win for Embiid at plus 230. Don't mind that at FanDuel.
Yeah, and either way, this game is going to have implications for the MVP races. It seems like every single game does have now. I don't want to call it recency bias, man. There's 82 games in this season, and if Embiid continues to play this way down the stretch, and the Nuggets continue to lose the way they have been down the stretch, even if Joker's playing well, which he's not playing as well, especially not as well as Embiid right now. I just wanted to touch on that for a second because, like I said, every game that the 76ers and the Nuggets and maybe the Bucks play for the rest of the season, probably not the Bucks nearly as much as in Embiid's case, but they're close, and it's a lot closer than people might have thought when Jokic was like minus 250 or 300 to win MVP around the All-Star break. It's a little bit more fun than that now. So that's all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. Check out the other couple videos we have for you on this 7-game slate tonight. And until we see you next, happy betting.